cool to be together, isn't it? I don't know if you've gone away, done anything yet over the summer. You know, especially in the UK, you've got like 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the summer, and as soon as it starts, it's like try to get somewhere, go somewhere. I don't know, you know, you try to rush to go abroad, or you just go, whether it's local, just a day out somewhere, or, you know, whatever. We have this like, with such a small window, isn't it? And you've got to like sort of go somewhere and be somewhere and almost do something, you know. And I don't know if you remember this, you know, they're not as popular anymore, but when I was younger, of course, you know, there was things called postcards, right? And so we used to get this postcard, and I don't know if you ever got one of these. You'd get this postcard from some lovely, exotic, warm holiday somewhere else, and it says, "Wish you were here." And you're like, well, how's that supposed to make me feel any better? Right? You're like, I'm stuck in like some cold place or rainy place or whatever it is, and it's like, hey, wish you were here. And I'm like, yeah, I really bet you do, actually, you know. You just picked up that card because there was like, you know, 10 of them for £2 or something, right? And then you just send them to all your friends and like all your family members, like, wish you were here. Really? You know? And how's that supposed to make me feel better? You know, wish I was with you, you know? So anyway, I don't know, little bit of a moment. But anybody ever got one of those cards before? Anybody ever sent one of those cards before? Yeah, wish you were here. We're thinking about like this. We're doing a 3-week summer series and talking about like how we journey places. And whether you went abroad or whether you went local or just went a day out and just had the day off and spent some time and went to watch a movie or walked into town or something, you know, whatever you did, you know, all of us have. We've journeyed somewhere. We've done something. We've experienced something. And I was thinking about like, you know, because we don't get postcards anymore. You know, it's all like Instagram and Snapchat, of course, is how we get our photos of everybody. Unless, of course, you're between the ages of 35 and 50 and you're female, then you're probably still using Facebook, right? So anyway, we don't get postcards anymore. It's not really a thing, you know. It's all digital media. And I was thinking, like, as you look through these different pictures of different things that people might have done and experienced and stuff like that, I was also thinking, like, life's a bit like that, isn't it? You know, there's these moments through life, these, like, journeys through life, these snapshots, these moments through life that we've traveled to, that we've been to, you know, that we've experienced in life. And there's this line from a song that life is a highway. You know, Rascal Flatts wrote that song for the Cars film, and I'm not going to sing it for you. But he writes this line from this song, and it says, "Life is like a road that you travel on when there's one day here and the next day gone." Life is like a highway. You know, we all have traveled through different things. We've all been through different experiences, different places, different relationships, different school experiences, different education moments, different all sorts of things. We've gone through all different types of things, haven't we? Different jobs, even. You know, maybe you've moved house a few times. Maybe, you know, what would the snapshots and postcards of your life sort of represent? And whether you're a follower of Jesus or not, this is going to be a series that we want to like just really just lean into. And here's what we want to do. We want to look at this idea of like good advice to help you reach your destination. Because wherever we're traveling in life, this life is a highway is true. You know, life is a highway. Life is something that we're journeying on. We're going somewhere. Whether you consciously think about it or not, we are all doing something, moving forward, going forward. And the thing is, all of us have this in our hearts, our desires, like we want the future to be better. We all do. You know, we all, whether we're cynical or not, we all have hope. We want the future to be better. We have longings for the future to be better. You know, we just do. There's something inbuilt in our souls that we long for the future to be a bit brighter, a bit smoother, a bit easier. We just hope that. It doesn't always work out that way, does it? Because all of us have lived life. But we have that longing, and that's like a universal longing. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, you have this universal longing inside you that you want the future to work out better. We all do. And maybe you might even be experiencing something in your life right now that you wish was totally different. And it's a season, it's a stage in your life, and you're just hoping that one day it will get better. We have that longing, and we just thought, you know what? We're all heading somewhere. Whether we consciously realize it or even think about it, we are all going somewhere. Our lives are going somewhere. Our life is moving forward. You know, if you're driving in a car, you have this thing called reverse. You know, you may have experienced it if you're driving. Your car is built to go one direction, but it has the ability to go another direction. Woo! So cool, right? Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way, does it? You know, if you're driving your car and you miss a turn, you can like just readjust and like go backwards, right? You can kind of do things. You can have this like go back and do it again almost. You get this like do-over. But life doesn't give you a do-over. You can't do over your teenage years. You can't redo your 20s. You can't redo your first marriage. You can't redo that choice you made when you worked at a certain company, or you can't redo that choice when you bought that car, which was a dud. We can't redo things. We don't get these do-overs. Life is forward. Life moves forward. Whether we like it or not, it only goes in one direction. Tomorrow is coming. Tomorrow's coming. We can't redo the past. Now we can learn, and we should learn from our past, because our past teaches us important things. Of course it does. And the things we've done yesterday and the week before and the months before and the years before impact our lives. Of course they do. But we can't live life in reverse. And in fact, if you live life in reverse, it's just as dangerous as driving your car in reverse all the time. If everything we do is look in reverse and look in that rearview mirror of life, like, you're going to miss what's ahead of you. Same as if you're driving a car and all you do is try to go backwards. It's not really the way it's intended to function. It's intended to go forward, and your life is intended to go forward. And we want to do a 3-week series of just looking at how we can help one another go forward in life, how we can move forward, how we can have some good advice to safely get where we're supposed to go, some good advice to help us reach our destination. And I'm going to ask you to do this as well for me. Now, maybe there's somebody in your life that you could invite to sit with you. Who could you invite to be part of these next 3 weeks? Who could you invite to participate and just sit and say, hey, come along. Here's what we're doing at our church. We're doing some really practical stuff for a couple weeks, and it's all about some good advice to move forward in life. Maybe there's somebody in your life you could invite. Maybe there's somebody in your life you could forward the link to, if you like. But we are all moving forward, and we all want the future to be good. We really do that. We do want that. That's in our hearts. And I believe we can help each other. I believe we can. I believe we can work together and help one another move forward together in life. I think we can do that. And here's the first bit of good advice. Super practical. Choose a destination. See, I told you it's practical, right? Choose a destination. Choose a destination. Yeah. So I'm going to take you back in time again. I told you about postcards. I'm going to take you even further back in time. Some of you will remember, some of your parents will remember this. There was this thing called a travel agent. Yeah? A travel agent, yeah. And this travel agent had a space on the high street. And they sat behind a row of desks, usually 3 or 4 desks on one side of this room. And then on the other side of the room, the whole wall was covered, like a library, covered in magazines and brochures. And for those of you who've grown up with smartphones, you probably have never experienced this, but let me tell you how your parents and grandparents used to have to go on holiday. They'd go into this room, they'd sit down with somebody, and this person would clickety-clack away on a computer. They'd get some of these magazines, get some of these brochures, and they'd ask you all these questions. They'd say, like, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And it's like this. I'll show you. They still have them. So here we have, this is like family holiday. So you come in and they ask you some questions, and just look how blue it is. That's amazing. Oh, look at that. Smiling children's faces going to an airplane. This person has never traveled with children in an airplane. Oh, my word. I mean, they're actually sitting on the plane together, smiling and happy. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Woo. Look at this, all mapped out. It's just blue after blue after blue. It looks so lovely and so bright and so much fun. Wow, so what you do is you would go through these and you'd figure out the kind of stuff that you wanted to do as a family. They would then clickety-clack on a computer, and then they would say to you, this is how much it costs, and this is what you get, and this is where you fly from, and do you want full board or half board, and all this kind of stuff. And you had all of this opportunity, all of these choices. So we got family holidays, holiday villages, and Splash World, whatever that is. I think that's water park places. This was for the more, this is for the more conscious consumer. I don't think you go with children to these places. There's no blue. It's all white and posh. All right. It just shows pictures of bedrooms as well. You definitely don't go here with children. This is not splash parks and pools, right? So this is what your parents would do. This is what your grandparents would do. You go through these pictures of these. Oh, here's another posh one as well. You go through these brochures and try to figure out. There's so much choice, so much options, so many things to choose from. It's just so much stuff. And the thing is, when Beth went in this week, and Beth and Kate and my wife and youngest son, they collected these flyers, these brochures from a travel agent in town. Didn't even know there still was one. There still is one. It's a museum, you guys. You could go check it out. It's open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 4. No, anyway, so you can go check out this museum. And anyway, so the first thing that this lady said to Beth, she said, "Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go?" That's the first question. Where do you want to go? Because sometimes we live life and we're so overwhelmed with choice. There's so many options. I could go here, I could study this, I could do that, I could go there, I could work there, I could work this, I could go to this university, I could go to this college, I could go there. We're so bombarded with choice, but it happens all the time because we also, if you want to watch TV, you're bombarded with choice. You're bombarded with options. You're bombarded with supermarkets. We're blessed in the UK to have a plethora of options, but it is bombardment sometimes. There's so much choice, so many options. There's just so much stuff, and sometimes that can happen in life. We can feel overwhelmed because of all the choices that we're experiencing or facing. Or maybe it's difficult for us to make choices. Maybe you grew up in a family or an environment where you were never encouraged to make a choice about stuff. Maybe you were never raised in a place that allowed you to make a choice and that choice was right. Maybe you weren't. And so for some of us, it's hard to make the right choice because we're so worried about getting it wrong that we end up not making any choice. And it's not that we don't want to be indecisive. It's that we're just so worried about making the right choice. And I don't know what your experience with making decisions is, but I want to encourage you. You made a really good choice already today. You have come here with clothes on. Okay? You can make decisions. You can make choices. And guess what? You might have also, over there's some tea and some coffee and some water. If you had a drink this morning, can you raise your hand for me? Did you get a drink? Okay. You made a choice. If you didn't get a drink, you made a choice. So well done. You might feel like sometimes I'm not good at making choices. I want to encourage you. Already this morning, before 11 o'clock, you have made a few choices. You've figured out what you're doing, and you've had a tea or a coffee or a water or whatever, and you've figured out where to sit and what to do. So I want to say, well done. And maybe sometimes if you're used to not feeling like you can make choices, sometimes the best thing to do is to start learning how to make simple choices. And you've made a few choices already this morning. So yeah, well done. You're going to go out of here today and you're going to carry on making some good choices because at some point you're going to have to eat today. So I presume you're going to choose to eat. So there you go. You're already on a track. But we are all moving forward somewhere. We're all heading somewhere. And when you make choices, here's why making a choice is important about your life. When you choose your destination, when you make a decision, you choose and you stop drifting. So when we choose, we stop drifting. Okay, when you choose, we move into action. And when you choose, you say no to something else. If you chose a tea this morning, you said no to coffee. Simple as that. Simple. When you choose something, you make a decision, you stop drifting. And when you choose, you move into action. And when you choose, you say no to something. And it's just like when we travel. When we're traveling, there's various stages or legs to our journey. If you've ever been on a long journey, you know that there's like different bits to the journey, sometimes different legs to the journey. And the same is true in life, isn't it? We've got different stages or different legs in life, different seasons of life that we travel through. Think about it. Like when you were younger, you went through juniors, primary school, junior school, secondary school. Those are all the seasons. Those are stages. Maybe you're still in secondary school. You're getting ready to go into college, or you're considering whether you stay on and go to sixth form, or you're going to start choosing about your A-levels, or maybe you're a little bit further down the road past that stage. You're going to have to start thinking about universities, and do you go, do you not go? Have to start thinking about that. Or maybe you're looking for a job in the workplace, and what are you going to do in the marketplace? And maybe you're starting to think about life partner. Maybe there's big decisions, or maybe you've already made all those types of decisions in your life. And you're a bit further on, and you're still at a different stage in your life, and you're in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s or your 50s or your 60s or grandparent stage. I don't know, we all have like different seasons, different stages of life, and it's like different parts of our journey. And it's easy to think about that when we're younger, because you finish junior school and you move up, but we don't think about that as often when we're older. But I think it's important to remember that every one of us is always in a stage. Every one of us is always in a season. And this life is a highway, life is a journey. We are actually in the next season of our lives. What season is your life in right now? What stage is your life in? It's good to think about sometimes, practical to think about. And each season, is connected to the previous season. It's just like on a long highway. It's going forward, isn't it? And here's what I want to ask you. I got a couple of questions for you, and I want you to just take a moment and think about it, because we don't always pause and reflect about sometimes where our lives are at. But here's what I want to ask you. I just want to ask you, what season of life are you in right now? It could be one of the teenagers with us this morning, or maybe you're in the grandparent stage. What season of life are you in right now? Are you in a transition? Are you in a settling season? What season are you in right now? As an individual, as a family unit? What are you in? And if you think about our life moving forward, are you happy with where you're heading? If life is a highway and we're going somewhere in life, are you happy with where the direction of your life is currently going? Let's think about it. Maybe you are. Maybe you aren't. Are you happy with where your life is going? And guess what? You've got some control over this. Of course, you can't control circumstances. Of course you can't. And life has a funny way of being life and knocking us off track and doing all those kind of things. But we still have the ability to choose a destination. You can still choose a destination. You can still choose a destination. You can still decide, this is where I'm heading. This is what I want my life to look like in the future. It might not be that way right now. It might not be how I expected it or hoped for or anticipated, and things could have happened along the way that knocked me a little bit off course. But my destination, although I've had some diversions, I still know where I'm going. I still have a destination. If you don't have a destination in mind, here's what's going to happen. Your circumstance is going to hit you, and you're going to think there's no point going on. You're going to think there's no value in actually going forward. But life is just going to keep going forward, whether you like it or not. Tomorrow is coming. And even though we like to pull back and resist and hold back and pull down, sometimes we just don't. Life just carries on. We don't get the opportunity to just check out. So I don't know what you're facing right now, what circumstances you've got going in your life, but when we choose a destination, it will help us know where we want to go. And it also will help us think about, is it where we want to be, And here's the other thing why it's important to choose a destination. Because we stop having wishful thinking. See, when you choose, you stop doing wishful thinking. Here's wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is great. Really good. It's fun to have intentions. It's great to have good intentions. You might intend to lose some weight. Has a good intention. You intended to lose weight, but then when those cream cakes came out, or when that cake came out, or when this came out, but you intended to lose some weight. Okay, you intended to go to bed a little bit earlier, but then Netflix just does this thing where like 3 seconds later the next episode started, and I can't I gotta keep watching because oh my gosh, what's gonna happen, or whatever, But you intended to like only have one drink when you went out with friends because you just thought it was a good idea to you intended to do this. You intended to come home and be gracious and kind to your partner and your children, but oh my, just got a bit fractious. But you intended to do the right thing. You intended to do the right thing. But see, we intend to I meant to call that person, or I really wanted to do this, or I really wanted to serve on this team maybe, or join a small group. We got small groups that we call fused groups. I intend to do that one day. I intend to do it one day. And intentions are good, but intentions are nothing without action. They're just wishful thinking. And when you choose a destination in your life, it helps you to stop being a wishful thinker. A dreamer, it's good to have dreams, but at some point we got to move from daydream into reality. We got to move things into action, and learning to choose a destination and make decisions helps us. We intend to I intend to only spend this much money when I go to the supermarket this week, but in reality I spent a bit more. We have these good intentions all the time, but we have to learn to move forward. And the thing is, remember, when you choose, you make a decision, or you stop drifting. When you choose, you move into action. And when you choose, you say no to something else. And that helps us get out of this realm of wishful thinking. Because when I choose and I learn to say no to something else, it means I begin to learn in my life and move forward. Wishful thinking is like flicking through holiday brochures, but going nowhere. It's wishful thinking. Cool, moving on. Think about this. Our decisions move our life into action. And when you make decisions on the highway of life, when you make a decision, when you start moving forward, what's amazing about this? It can change your destination. I said earlier, if you're not happy with where your life's headed, if you're not happy with the current destination, did you know that your decisions can determine your destination? Andy Stanley says, decisions determine destination. And it might not happen, it won't happen immediately, but over time, a little change of direction changes the destination, doesn't it? And that's why it's important for us to all learn to choose and make decisions. And if you're not happy with your way that your life is heading, think about what changes might you need to make in your life. Just super practical. What changes might you need to make? Okay, next thing. This is another practical tip. Good advice for living. Borrow a map. So my son was hanging out with a friend the other day. I'd never been to their house, contrary to popular belief. And so I don't know, I wasn't sure. And then you know what they sent me? They sent me like a little, these are smartphones again. They do this thing where you can do like a drop pin, right? So I got sent like a pin on my map on the phone, which I could open. And then Beth ended up driving out there. So I just forwarded the pin to her and they could open it that way. Now see, I'd never been there. So I needed someone who had been there to show me how to get there. And in life, we all need people that we can borrow a map from. People who have been where we're going, who have experienced maybe what we're experiencing and can help us get there. In whatever season of life we're in, we always need somebody to help us. We could be younger and not sure about what we do, education or school choices, or you could be an adult and you're struggling with stuff going on with your relationships, or you're not sure about what you do job-wise, or you're not sure you need some assistance financially. Like we all need somebody who we can borrow a map from. And one of the amazing things about followers of Jesus, the Christian community, is intended to be a place where we are generous and kind and let people borrow maps all the time. We need to help one another learn how to navigate whatever season of life they're in, because guess what? There's enough of us here who have experienced enough of life's up and downs to help one another in whatever season of life we're in. This is what it means to be a family and a body and a community. And here's the challenge, of course, because it's so easy for us to borrow a map when we don't know where we're going, like to a friend's house. But it's much harder for us to borrow a map when we don't know how to handle some stuff relationally. It's much harder to borrow a map when we've got some financial problems in our life. We'd like to bury our heads in the sand. It's much harder to say to somebody else, because we have to admit that something's not really right in our lives and we need some help. And so we have to eat a bit of humble pie, and it's not really a nice feeling, is it, to sort of be in that place. So the more awkward it is for you to ask for help, the more important it is for you to ask for help. The more awkward it is for you to ask for help, the more important it is for you to ask for help. If you're struggling in something in your life, the more unspeakable you leave it, the more powerful it becomes. Borrow a map. Borrow a map. And we've got a really practical way that you can do that at the end of the service. So we're going to learn to borrow a map from one another. There's this verse in the Bible, and it's in this book called Proverbs. And the Bible is a collection of books. You might have thought of it as one book, but in reality, it's 66 different books that have been put together. And this one book in the Bible is called Proverbs. And Proverbs is just like the word proverb, it's a wisdom saying, it's advice. And Proverbs is full of these one-liners, these great little one-liners. And there's this verse in Proverbs, and it says this. It says, "Listen to counsel and accept discipline, so you will be wise for the rest of your days." A couple things there. Of course, the first thing we have to do is listen to it. We have to listen to it. Accept discipline. It doesn't mean take your medicine, accept the punishment. Okay, sometimes we read the word discipline and we think punishment. Discipline does not mean punishment. It means accept the training, accept the coaching, accept what it takes for you to learn, accept the discipline. So if you have a job and you have to be somewhere by 9 o'clock in the morning, you discipline yourself to wake up early enough to get to your job in time. That's discipline. It's not punishment, it's discipline, it's training. You train yourself. So the guy that wrote this was a guy named Solomon, King Solomon, and he wrote, "Listen to the counsel, accept the training, accept the coaching, accept the discipline you need." And guess what? If you do that, if you listen to it and you put it into action, you're going to be wise the rest of your days. I don't know about you, but I would like to have a little bit more wisdom in my life. And I don't want it just for this moment. I want it for tomorrow and the day after and the day after. I want it for when my children get older and there's things that I've not even yet anticipated facing, but I'm going to have to face at some point. Man, I want wisdom for the future, don't you? I want wisdom for stuff we're going to face 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. I want to have wisdom for the rest of my days. And if I want to have wisdom for the rest of my days, it's so simple. The best thing we can do is listen to it and put it into action. Listen to the counsel and accept the training, accept the discipline, accept the coaching. Why? Because we're in trouble? No, it's not punishment. Why? So you can be wise the rest of your days. So I'm just so glad that our young people, our teenagers, our awesome generation is in with us these next 2 weeks. Here's why this is so important. I want you to just listen in. If you're under the age of 25, just listen in really closely, please. I want to see you have the best darn life you can have. I want to see you fly and soar and go places. I want to see you know what the right thing to do is, and I want to see you able to make the right choice. That's what wisdom is. Wisdom is knowing what to do and then doing it. That's wisdom. And my heart for you is to see you grow up in a place where you have wisdom. And here's how you do it. I'm sorry, this is going to sound really bad. You got to listen to people that are speaking into your life. Some people are so annoying, okay? I had parents as well. Some people are so annoying and they get on our nerves, okay? Some of our teachers are annoying, okay? I'm sorry, they are. But when someone has said the same thing to you a few times in a row, that's a big clue in life. That's something I should start to pay attention to. It's probably uncomfortable because training and coaching and disciplining is uncomfortable. But if we learn to listen and do something about it, you will be wise for the rest of your days. And if you learn it now, trust me, there's a room full of people who didn't learn this in life. And we can tell you from firsthand experience, man, having wisdom when I'm younger and making the right choices when I'm younger would have helped me so much. So please pay attention to it, lean into it, listen to the counsel, listen to the advice. and put it into practice, and you will grow in wisdom. Now, for those of us who are older, it doesn't matter. We can still put it into practice, because if you're still alive, that means your life of a highway is still going forward. You still have life to live. We still have stuff to do. So you're not dead yet. You're here. You're alive and kicking, right? So we still have got stuff to do. So if you're older, it doesn't matter. We can all listen, and we can all make some good choices, and we can put it into practice, and that's going to help us be wise for the rest of our days. Hopefully, we all have some days left, right? I mean, this is not going to be the last time we see everybody. So we've all got days left. So hope we can all put this into practice. We can all do something with it, and we know it's not instant fixes. We want instant stuff, don't we, all the time? But this stuff isn't instant. This stuff is going to take a little bit of time for it to happen. So here we have the 2 bits of good advice for our first bit of our series, the 2 things to look on for us. Choose a destination. Are you happy with where your life is heading? Just think about what your current trajectory is. Where's the direction of where your life's going? Just think about it. Are you happy with where things are at? If you're not happy with the way things are going, then what changes do you need to make? And every little change you make over time, when you make a change, it will change your destination, won't it? It will change the way things are going. And borrow a map. Borrow a map. We believe passionately as a local church that God is for you. God is for you. God loves you so much so. He loves all of us so much so that he gave his one and only son. And he gave his son for us even before we did anything to deserve it. He gave his son because he believed in the potential. He believed in the future. He made some decisions that determined the destination. He believed in us so much so, and he gave his only son. He loved us so much so. And he wanted us to know what God was like. And he sent his son to earth as a baby. It's what we celebrate at Christmas time, don't we? He sent his son as an earth as a baby. And when this little boy grew up, his name is Jesus. And when he grew up, he did whatever he could to help show people there's a new way of living and a new way of loving. And he taught us that he is for us, not against us. God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever, that everyone who chooses to believe in him would not die, but actually have everlasting life. And I didn't send my son into the world to punish you and condemn you. I sent my son into the world to rescue you. John 3:16 and 17, the most famous verses in the whole Bible. God is for us. We believe as a local church that God is totally for us. It doesn't mean everything we do is right. It means everything he does is right. And his heart is for us, not to destroy us, but to see us grow. It doesn't mean we do whatever we like. God's for us. He must just love us so I can do whatever I like. No, it doesn't mean that. What it means is God is for you. That's the main. His heart is for you. It doesn't mean that we do everything right. It means that in spite of our junk, in spite of our mistakes, in spite of our failures, his heart is to love us and see us grow. And we want to practically help one another during this season. So what we've got on the end of our row, is a little card. And maybe you would like to know how to borrow a map. So what you do on this card, it might apply to you, it might not. What you do, write your name on there. It's got a couple categories. It just says, hey, relationships, parenting, finances, addiction, becoming a Christian, other. What circumstance in your life are you currently facing that you just think, you know what? I would love to borrow a map. Is there anybody that could help me in whatever season I'm facing? Because let's be honest, if this faith isn't part of our everyday, ordinary lives, it's pointless. We have to be practical. Hey, if there's anything you want some help with, want to borrow a map, so what you can do, fill it out, put your name on there. You're not going to be added to a mailing list, but we do need your details, and someone from the leadership team is going to contact you. And on the table there at the back is a little box that's just right in the middle, a little gray box, and you can just drop it in there. And somebody will contact you and just say, hey, you asked for some help in this area. Let's chat about it a bit more. What could we do? So really super practical way to just put it into action. So please, if that's something you want to do, fill that out. And then also we've got these travel guides, which you got when you came in. Again, just a super practical way. We want to just really, over the next 3 weeks, just have a super helpful way as followers of Jesus that we can care for one another and for others in our community and in our town. Right. Can I pray with you? Let's pray. Jesus, thank you so much for everything that you are. God, we thank you that the mystery of your goodness, God, is just overwhelming sometimes. And we just thank you so much for everything you are. We thank you that you are for us, that you gave your son to die for us, and that death couldn't even hold him down, God. But 3 days later, he came back from the dead, which is hard to get our heads around, but so incredible because all of his followers said this is what happened. God, we thank you so much for you proving your love for us that way. I would just pray for everybody here this morning, whatever season of life they're in, whatever journey, whatever stage they're at, I ask that you would just be with them. And for everyone who needs a bit of courage to make some decisions, God, I ask that you would give them the courage to make the next choice, God. I thank you that you are here to help us and guide us and that we can work together. In your name we pray. Amen. Right, our young people have been brought back in, our children, we brought them back in for you now. In a few minutes, we're going to have a whole bunch of pastries just on that black table there. If you filled out a card, please remember to put it in the little gray box at the back. But yeah, have an awesome, amazing week. Please stick around if you can. There's no need to rush off. But every week in the summer, we're going to have some like sweet treats at the end. If you're worried about the fact that there is just pastries, I want you to know next week is fruit salads. So we're gonna like make sure we've got the healthy stuff. And the last week is ice cream. So you don't want to miss the last weeks. We have gluten-free stuff as well. It's kept separate, so we need to. If you need gluten-free, please pay attention to that. Yeah, and the kiddos are here. Awesome. Thank you.